Yes, with an amazing performance, please welcome Annette Bening. They like you. They like you. In so many ways, a remarkable performance. It really is, and deserving of all the accolades that you're getting. But I'm wondering, when you got this script and they said, "Okay, you're gonna do all of this swimming and all this stuff. You're gonna become the Diana Nyad in a sense. You got to train like Diana Nyad, I guess, too." What was your reaction? Did you say yes right away?
You know, I said yes right away I knew in my head I was going to do it, no question, when I read it. But it was more about the story and about this character and her inner life and the changes that she went through and how, tough she was and how this incredible commitment. I mean, it was the story and the woman and the inner life of this woman that really got me. Yeah. And I didn't think as much about the swimming. I honestly didn't. I don't know what I was thinking, but I just was into the story, and I didn't really think, really sit and think through, okay, bathing suit. Yeah. And I'm a very impulsive, basically, person. And in some ways, I think that's good. Yeah. I mean, when I respond to something, and I really respond, it's not an intellectual process. Yeah. It's like when you see something that you love. You just get it in your gut, and that's how I felt. So I just, I knew that I wanted to do it based on the story itself. I mean, it was also like I couldn't believe it. Yeah. I couldn't believe the story, and it never occurred to me that I would be playing an athlete in my 60s. Like, never crossed my mind. In a million years would I have dreamt of doing something like this. So then that was, of course, thrilling. The idea of doing something that's just completely different than I've ever done. And so I just...
Well, how many people are there like Diana Nyad who are an athlete in their 60s, who are attempting to do something that they failed at, whatever word you want to use, 30 years earlier in their career, had given up that portion of their life to come back and do that, because the life of an athlete is constant.
Right, and she writes about it in her book, and the movie is based on the book. And the book's very good, by the way. It's very well written. She's very intelligent, erudite woman. And she talks about the life of the athlete and how most athletes, of course, deal with this incredible change in their lives when they no longer have that thing, especially elite athletes, highly successful and Olympians and others who are used to just living with that thing where you're always going to the next goal and you're climbing the next mountain, whatever that is. So she really missed it. She missed that high of that going after something. And so that was the thing that she was convinced that she still had in her head.
And was it all possible? With friends and people around her and everything, there was that determination. When you talked about the inner life, what's going on inside her, that's amazing, because you're playing a character who isn't always likable and not afraid to do it because she's got a goal in her inside.
Well, I saw this really interesting short, one of the nominated shorts this year, documentary shorts. It's called The ABC of Book Banning, and it's an amazing short film.
Sheila Nevin's a great...
That's right, that's exactly right. So there's one book in there that was banned, and I think it's called, it's a girl's, for young girls, and I think it's called Ambitious Girl. And in it, there's a lot of affirmations and a lot of discussion about being an ambitious girl, and I thought, there's something about that. There's something in the culture, and I don't know that I can articulate it, but I think that a woman who is like Diana, and this characterization is not exactly Diana. Diana is incredibly charismatic. Like if she might even be here tonight. Sometimes she sneaks in, but I've done lots of Q&As.
I don't think she could get into this place tonight. This is they had turnaway crowds.
Diana is such a character.
Yeah.
She is so charismatic. So she's very, very likable. And she's very warm. But she does have this single-mindedness. And I don't know, I feel like we look at women, and our metric for how we accept women in positions like Diana found herself in, it's kind of different than a guy.
Yeah.
And if a guy stands up and says, "I'm king of the world," we sort of say, "Yeah, man, you're king of the world." And a woman says that, it's like, well, shouldn't you be a little quieter? I don't know. I think there's something there. I don't know what that is, but you're right. She is very, very, and the way that we, I knew that I had to give her a character arc.
Yeah,
She couldn't just start like fabulous and sweet. I don't know.
and do that, which is what I loved about this performance.
Well, thank you. I tried. I don't know what happened, but that's what I chose.
It's very clear you did. And how much did you work with Diane and Nyad when you're playing a real life person like that? You played several. You played the late great, Diane Feinstein and many others in your career too. What is the responsibility to you as an actor, and what do you hope to get from them to help you in this?
Well, with Diana, I felt a great responsibility towards her, and I wanted to know as much as I could, and I wanted to know what was some of the, what was really going on inside. And she has a very soulful essence, and she has a lot of softness, and she has a lot of for want of a better word, vulnerability. She did have a lot that happened to her as a kid, and we didn't want to make the story simple in that way. We didn't want to overemphasize the things that happened to her, and she certainly doesn't want it that way. She doesn't see herself as a victim at all. But I do think that having the dad that she had, and we don't see it too much in the film, you only see a touch of it. But if if you're interested and you want to learn more about the book, she really talks about the dad, who actually was her stepdad, and she didn't know it at the time, which is another strange thing that her mother never told her until she was older, that in fact this charismatic, handsome figure who was kind of this big dreamer, but he was also abusive, and that he was in fact her stepfather and not her biological father, which she didn't find out until she was in her 20s, and of course this coach who abused her. So she had a lot of that. And I think a lot of her initial marathon swimming in her 20s came out of that this happened all during her teens. So, I felt an enormous responsibility. And I also needed her to trust me, and that's something that that's a very, very special thing as an actor, right? That you get to know someone so well. And I am her advocate. I am fighting for her. I'm fighting for her character, and I'm fighting for her point of view. And that's our job, is to love these people to death and just want to fight for everything that is on their side, just as we would fight for our own lives. So I did get to know her very well, and I really love her, and we've become friends. And Bonnie as well. Bonnie's an amazing woman. I mean, and during the strike, since I couldn't go out, Jodie couldn't go out, Diana couldn't go out, so Bonnie became the one, and Bonnie was like, took over the Q&As, and she actually began to really love it. Because, she's usually like in Diana's shadow, and Diana's the one that's talking all the time. So
Let me tell you, I can vouch for that. I was at the Telluride Film Festival where Annette couldn't be because of the strike and all of that. We support the strike in this crowd in particular. SAG strike, yeah. It's good. And WG, I'm in WG. So, but I saw Bonnie. And I got to know Bonnie there. And she was having dinners. She was the life of the party, let me tell you.
She's incredible. And the two of them, just are like, they have so much energy.
Yeah.
Even now, when I see them and we get together, and yeah, they're extraordinary. They really are. They're unusual women.
It's amazing. Well, you know, that leads to another question. This movie is also about female friendship in a big way, I think, and their friendship comes across on the screen, and that's just as important as anything else in this movie too. And they're friends to this day. They're so close.
They are. They're deep friends, and it's important for me and for Jodie that this part of the story.
Who's also nominated for SAG and Oscar.
Such a great woman, and you know, friendships and how to dramatize them. You have to have a conflict, right? So you have to find. Otherwise, movies they're just not very deep, or they're not very interesting, at least to me. That there has to be a conflict involved, and so this great friendship has the swim to sort of swirl around, because in fact they are deep friends, and they dated years and years ago, and then they became friends, and they stayed friends all of these years. And you know, they're very funny together, and they're very entertaining together for sure. But then they also, just like a long marriage, you know, there's moments where you bump up against each other, and they certainly have that. But I love that we have a story about two women in their 60s and their friendship and their bond and what it means, why it's important, you know, what these relationships mean to us as women. Because I know for me, it's just such a vital part of my life, is my women friends, and in all different professions, some in show business and many not in show business, but that, you know, what is it that sustains us, you know, that comes from that? It's just essential.
It's amazing. I want